Let's go back to those protests happening in Minneapolis. CBS News Minnesota is there covering those protests. We're going to dip into their coverage for just a minute.
Verbal harassing back and forth between both protesters and agents. I've seen yell as well. A lot. I do not see this toning down anytime soon. I think they're going to really hold ground here. I know their goal was an hour, but we're almost to that point so far this morning. So they are holding their ground. They are blocking the exit. They are calling for justice for Renee Good. They're calling for accountability for ICE. They want ICE out of this state. And at times it's contentious, like you just saw. We're going to have to do some investigating to see what led up to those two arrests, because we saw two people be pulled away in handcuffs from ICE agents. And again, there isn't, that I can see right now, I'm panning the crowd, there isn't any agents in the crowd. They've returned to their line here. They're holding their line to, it's a bit of a standoff, really.
It does look like it, Barrett, and you have been out there now since this morning and have seen this crowd grow. Right. We know that it started with just a handful, and now it looks as though there are a couple hundred people there, both just standing these lines. And for the most part, everyone is just verbalizing their desires. We know that 2,000 federal agents are in the Twin Cities metro area, among what ICE and federal agents are calling their largest immigration enforcement ever here in the state of Minnesota. And this comes as some very polarizing views of what exactly happened. People on the ground and people who have viewed the video saying that it is exactly opposite of what the Department of Homeland Security says was an act of defense by the ICE agent. Many people on the ground who witnessed calling it a very straight-on shooting. And we're seeing here a lot of people in the crowd with signs that say just that. Barrett, how are you doing? Exactly. I know you were caught up with the chemical irritants. How are you doing right now? Yeah, I was. I wasn't directly hit, but I breathed it in and had a bit of a coughing fit earlier. But I see folks are using snow to perhaps wash out eyes. It's hard to tell. There you can see a giant yellow explosion of that irritant on the road here. But it's clearly not deterring folks from making their voices heard, getting their message across. Again, like you mentioned, Heather, there's all sorts of signs and chanting.
All right, you've been watching coverage from our station in Minneapolis, Minnesota. They are continuing to cover the protests that are happening on the ground. Of course, this in the wake of that horrific shooting of a woman yesterday by ICE agents in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This comes, of course, the prelude to all of this is what you just heard from our correspondents there. The federal government, which announced the deployment of around 2,000 agents to the Minneapolis area in what the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, says was one of its largest operations to date. The mobilization, they say, was necessary to crack down on fraud and to root out illegal immigrants. But you've heard now from the governor of the state of Minnesota, from the mayor of Minneapolis, from the police chief, who are saying that the presence of these federal agents on the ground has made their jobs harder and now has led to the death of a young woman.